Here's to the golden nectar that flows past our lips and to the chaos that follows. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
All right. Welcome to Cast Strength, everybody. With us.
Hey, what's up?
Yo.
You know who we are. It's the most professional group of whiskey drinkers on YouTube.
Well, we made it in like
on Wednesday night.
30 seconds.
Somehow we're here, all three of us. I hope everyone can hear us.
Yeah, no, you're right, Jeremy. I do need to up my nerd shirt game, I guess. I really don't have any nerd shirts. I only have whiskey nerd shirts.
Gotta fix that. Gotta fix that. That's all I have is nerd shirts. Not even pants, just shirts.
What are you boys drinking right now? I didn't even ask you that. What do you got, Vito?
Weller 12.
I have some nice vanilla cream, Eagle Rare bourbon, of course.
It's bourbon day.
Vanilla cream.
Vanilla cream. That's what I get on this vanilla cream.
Oh, on Eagle Rare, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I had a tiny bit of Eagle Rare last night because I hadn't had any in a while, and it was super like peanutty to me. Anyway, what about you, Brad?
Weller 12. So
nice. Dude, they are charging out the ass for that here.
I know, it's insane. Thankfully, I got it at like actual MSRP, whatever. It was like $32 Canadian, which is what, like $6 American or something stupid. I'm sure it was basically free.
I'm not sure that's how that works, but
it was basically free.
Close enough.
Yeah, so it was all right.
Yeah, well done. I don't like to play that double triple markup game.
Yeah, no, that's craziness.
Yeah. It's been forever since I've had Weller 12. Actually, I used to be able to get that kind of stuff pretty easily back in the day, but not these days. All the people want it.
What are you drinking, Josh?
So I have a bit of Wyoming whiskey.
Ooh,
yeah, and this bottle actually has a bit of a story behind it. There's a friend of mine that's in Whiskey Tribe and everything, Andy Morris out of the UK. He lives in Guernsey, UK. And we chat now and again. Of course, there's a big time difference, time zones and things like that. But he saw the Whiskey Vault review of Wyoming whiskey at one point and decided that sounds exactly like the bourbon for him. He just really loved their notes on it. Unfortunately, couldn't get a hold of it. Anywhere in the UK, they didn't distribute there, which I think they were recently bought out by the company that owns Macallan, like the parent company of Macallan. So maybe his luck will change on that. But I attempted to get him a bottle of Wyoming and ship it over to him, even though it's not a terribly expensive thing or whatever. It's just the one he had to have. And I bought this bottle and sent him pictures of it and promised I'd get it to him, and I packaged it up. We got a packing slip sent over from DHL in the UK, like already filled out, ready to go. Everything was good. This thing was packed for its voyage across the ocean, and I had to bring it to like a special shipping center at the airport, right? I show up, drive all the way out to the airport. I show up at the DHL shipping center. I walk in. I'm like, here, I think you'll find all the paperwork's in order and just need to ship this. She's like, what's in the box?
Like, what's in the
box? I'm like, it's a bottle of whiskey, actually. She's like, yeah, you can't do that.
Bastards.
Yeah. She's like, I'm glad you're honest with me because I was about to open it. So they turned me away, and to this day, I don't think that Andy's gotten his hand on Wyoming whiskey yet. So as a consolation prize, he said, you know what? If I can't have it, take that bottle. I'll pay you for it. Bring it to the Wizard Academy and give it to the vault, and hopefully it'll make it on another video. Nice. So I was dubbed the whiskey mule at that point for trekking this bottle of Wyoming whiskey all over the place and getting busted by the shipper. And I brought it up to Daniel, and we shot a little video clip and sent it over to him with Daniel pretending to pull the bottle out of my ass like I smuggled it across borders.
Yes, I remember seeing that.
Wait, you don't smuggle like that?
Well, I mean, the prison pocket's the only way to smuggle, I think.
Yikes.
Actually, I really like that story. Should we like do that for a little bit? I have a story about Eagle Rare.
Oh yeah. What's your Eagle Rare story?
So my Eagle Rare story. I went to Las Vegas, last August, and I got the chance to hang out with James Bricker, who, as we know, is the bourboniest bourbon guy we know. Next
He's
to the
bourboniest bourboner that's ever bourboned.
Oh God! Don't ask me to say that again. And essentially, he offered to hang out or whatever, and I was like, okay, if we're gonna hang out, I want you to teach me about bourbon, because at that point, like, I really had no real experience or experience with bourbon. So he's like,
Right.
yeah, okay, no problem. So I got to his place, and right away he shoves Stag Junior in my face.
That's so aggressive.
So aggressive. It was like a shovel to the face. And if you know James, you know exactly that's totally a first whiskey that he would give you.
It does sound like James.
Absolutely.
And so then we kind of progressed a little bit, and then we ended up on Eagle Rare, and I was like, oh, I think this is it. I think this is a bourbon that I can get behind. So fast forward 2 days later, we're sitting on his porch at like 4 a.m. in the morning, and 3/4 of a bottle of Eagle Rare is gone.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and we had spent the entire night just talking and shooting the shit and drinking Eagle Rare. Now Eagle Rare and James holds a special place in my whiskey heart now because of that experience.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
It's funny how the community and the culture that's developed around whiskey and all of the interaction and the media and all these things have kind of come together, and you get to have cool experiences like that just simply based on the fact that you're a part of the whiskey community. Yeah, that's always very cool. I saw Ed in the chat just one-upped me. He found he said he fits all of that in his urethra. That's wow.
I think you should see a doctor about that.
Wow.
That's not medically suggested, I would think. But
no.
You do you.
No, you're not supposed to have a bourbon catheter.
You're not supposed to.
Like this is a big, long bottle.
He's just boasting, I guess, is the thing, right?
Right?
Those Wisconsinites.
He is a masochist though, because they keep drinking such shitty whiskey on Wednesdays.
I know that's where he's gone crazy from all the
just
worst whiskey
now.
Wednesdays.
He's
all
lost
the
his mind
Hagen's
completely.
missed, and
but that's okay.
I agree. Jason in the chat said Eagle Rare is chocolate covered cherries. I get that a lot too in Eagle Rare. Yeah,
it's just so creamy, and yeah, it's just really full. I can totally get the chocolate cherries, but it's always just like when I first tasted it, I was like, this is like, and coming off of like other, I guess the other bourbons that we had, it was like the fullest mouthfeel of that I had at that point.
Mouthfeel.
Mouthfeel.
So what I like about the Wyoming whiskey is that it has a lot of weird. I say weird, like not in a bad way, right? But
not typical.
Atypical. That's a better way to put it.
There you go.
It's not. It doesn't have classic bourbon flavors, but the flavors it does have are really delicious. It's got this. It's like the base is still kind of a caramel, sort of a lighter caramel, and it has kind of a softness about it. But it also has this black tea kind of note to it that's just very, very slightly bitter, like a mild black tea, right? And one of the other bourbons that I found that in is a Texas bourbon, Iron Root, right?
Sure, yeah.
And it just so happens that the famous Nancy Fraley is involved in both companies.
Ah.
So I think that may be a hallmark of her signature style of getting involved with distilleries.
Could be. You could definitely tell, like with some distillers and blenders and things, like even if two whiskeys are very, very different, every once in a while, like so and so dealt with this. Like there's something,
Right.
There's some through line through it that like is familiar with a lot of the Balcones stuff is like that for me, where they're very, very different, but just instantly like, oh, this is Balcones. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Like even
this one's 100% malt,
rum,
that one's 100% corn. They both taste like Balcones.
Even their rum, like instantly, I was like, oh, this is from Balcones. Cool.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I saw John in the chat was asking about the Balcones Mirador. I've been through like 2 bottles of that now, man. That is what Daniel did on his little impromptu live stream yesterday, was talking up the Mirador. And I completely agree. It may well be the best thing that they put out this year. It's pretty amazing. I was talking to one of the guys at Balcones last time that I was there, and he said one of the key secrets not really even a secret, but they couldn't make Mirador without malt whiskey spending time in ex-rumble barrels. So they make this spirit called Rumble that has like turbinado sugar and figs and wildflower honey, and it's kind of like rum, but kind of not. Right? So
that sounds really good.
It's delicious stuff. Not a whiskey, but kind of rum-like. So they age that in barrels, empty that out, and then put in malt in the used barrel, and that's a big component of what goes into Mirador, and gives it this really unique. It's very Scotch-like, but you can, once you know that, you can pick out that that's what makes it so different.
Yeah.
So
cool. Jeffrey Patron said that he tried talking about mouthfeel with his dad yesterday, and he sort of went blank.
Oh.
Well, that's kind of awkward,
That'll happen. Mouthfeel is it's an awkward term, like moist.
I love moist.
Yeah, some people love it, some people hate it.
I mean, how else do you describe like a moist cake? You can't say it's a wet cake.
It's a damp cake.
Does it sound quite
that sounds worse than moist.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. In the context of desserts, I think is where you can use the word moist mouthfeel. That's a very cringy term.
Yeah.
So here recently, I was speaking with Roy from Aquavite, which if anybody that's watching isn't subscribed to Aquavite's YouTube channel, I don't know what you're doing with your life. You need to get over there and subscribe to it. But
do it
absolutely
now.
Do it now, because he's one of the best channels out there on YouTube related to whiskey. But he asked me an interesting question as we were just talking about whiskey and whiskey culture in general, and the amazing things that whiskey and being involved in the community can do. And I wanted to ask you guys this question as well, because it gave me pause. Have you ever been rendered speechless by a sip of whiskey?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was actually rendered speechless by a sip of whiskey along with like 15 other people at the same time.
Right. Yeah. The shared experience of it is the way he put it was, if you're sharing an amazing dram of whiskey with somebody, the enjoyment is more than doubled. Right.
Sure.
Right.
So what was that one for you, Brad? I think I know what it is.
You know what it is because you were there.
I know what it is.
Ardbeg 1815. It shut everybody up for a good minute. We're all just in our glasses, just oh yes, oh yes.
It's true.
Even
true.
The famed Daniel Whittington was just silently, just in the corner, just sniffing and sipping for at least a minute before we all started to talk about it.
That's true. Yeah, that's it's like, when it's an amazing meal because everybody is shutting the hell up and just eating, and like nobody's talking.
Yeah, that's
conversation
one of the
over.
Best compliments.
Right? Like that was definitely that experience that nobody was speaking a word. You heard the occasional like guttural sort of yeah, oh yeah. But for minutes, for sure, you could hear a pin drop in that room.
Right. It got so Christina, one of the mods of the chat, was mentioning, it got so silent in there that someone had to break the silence by proposing marriage.
Who could that be?
That's kind of what happened.
What about you, Vito?
Well, okay, so I recently, and I guess some of our friends in the chat will probably remember you guys teasing me about Redbreast Dream Cask a couple episodes ago, and how Brad and you got to try it, and I never got to, and it's the whiskey that, oh my God, I need to try it. Well, lo and behold, our producer extraordinaire showed up in Toronto with a tiny, tiny dram of it for my drinking pleasure. And after sniffing it around a little bit, which was amazing, what a sniff, what a nose on that whiskey. I finally drank a little bit of it, and it shut me up for maybe about 5 seconds, immediately followed by it's so fucking good and tears running down my eyes.
That sounds about right. About right.
Yeah.
It's hard to shut me up, but for 5 seconds it shut me up and made me cry.
It's hard to shut you up. No way.
A little.
Never. Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing though? Like I had that Dream Cask with Brad here in Austin, and you had it in an entirely different time in an entirely different country. And we can both sit here and I can understand exactly what you mean, having sort of shared that experience in entirely different places and times.
Yeah,
that's kind of an incredible thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was great. And I guess just to respond to Mark, Bitter and Jaded, saying, so those of us that drink alone are missing out. Absolutely not.
No, not at all.
No, absolutely not. It's whisk. I think you're probably better at probably putting this into words, Josh. But like, whether it's alone or with people, the experience of the whiskey is the same. It's just with other people, you get to watch potentially the reaction that you're having at the same time. So
I guess I would say, like, to me, it is. Yeah, I wouldn't say you're missing out, but if you are missing out on something, you're missing out on a different experience. Like, you can have a very sort of personal, quiet experience trying to focus on a special whiskey by yourself, right?
Yeah.
And that is absolutely a worthwhile thing and a special thing. It's an entirely different experience to do that in a social context. And that social context can take a bunch of different forms, right? It can be anything from very serious drinking with your whiskey nerd friends of some rare, expensive, high-end, fancy, rare things, right? But or it can be, I'll put it this way. I've had amazing times hanging out with a bunch of people, talking about whiskey and drinking a $23 bottle of Powers, right? And then on the other extreme, amazing times of drinking like Ardbeg 1815 and Redbreast Dream Cask. And, you almost can't quantify whether one's better than the other. They're both amazing in their own way.
Two separate experiences, yeah. So like, me, Brad, and friend and sometimes guest of the show, Adam Brudner, we got together prior to our Toronto gathering, which we'll discuss a little bit later on, at my house, and having two other people around me while drinking like new whiskeys to me was an amazing experience, because I don't get to do that super often. And I found myself being driven to explore the whiskey further, which I really enjoy. And when I'm drinking alone, and I want to take my time with it and explore it, I fully enjoy that, because I'm an introvert just by nature. So like, I love just sitting down with a dram, alone and, on the couch or whatever, and just kind of sitting with it and writing notes down. But being beside two other people that also enjoy whiskey a lot kind of turned the volume up a little bit on the whole experience, at least for me, right? I know other people it may turn it down, it may stay the same. For me, it heightened the experience because the three of us were kind of competing to see, oh, why smell this? Can you find it? Or, oh, I'm getting a bit of this. Like, I think for one of the whiskeys that we were trying, I blurted out at one point, Lysol lemon wipes.
One of those oddly specific tasting notes.
Which I probably wouldn't have found if I wasn't sort of, kind of tempted to sort of, beat Adam or Brad to the punch. Right. Like I'm a bit competitive. So it's just really fun for me to for that shared dynamic. And then when someone says like something weird, like Lysol lemon wipes, you can just like scoff at them and be like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Well, I like how Mitch put it in here. You also get to enjoy the other person enjoying the whiskey.
Yeah.
Right? So not only are you enjoying it, the other people are enjoying it. You get to experience their enjoyment of the whiskey as well.
Right. It's like watching like a really great horror movie with a bunch of people is a very different experience than watching it on your own. On Netflix, right. Like as you're experiencing all of the other people experiencing it, especially if you've already seen it, it's a whole different experience watching it with a group of people. And whiskey could be the same way, it's just a very different thing.
So I came into whiskey. I think it's fair to say we're all generally, if we had to pick a favorite style, we're all generally Scotch fans, right?
Yeah,
I would
but
so, yeah.
I came into it, through bourbon for sure. So that was, even though I'm kind of a Scotch guy now, bourbon was definitely my first love and my entry point into the whiskey culture. So it still holds like a special place for me, and I found I plucked a bunch of bottles out of the collection here that all of which have either a little story with it or a certain person associated with it. And I wanted to grab one here right now that may well be the most rare bottle of Crowded Barrel Eleanor in existence. So here she is. You can see it's been heavily modified and autographed. So The story here, this is an Eleanor 1860. Got my little bracelet on it too. The story here is this was before the Crowded Barrel opening party. This is when these had first come out, right? And I went down and picked up a few bottles here. And a bunch of folks were down at Fang and Feather and having Rex and Daniel autograph their bottles like in a silver Sharpie here. And I saw that was happening, and I made a comment. I said, yeah, I bet if I gave my bottle to Rex, he'd just draw a giant dick on it. So, so he totally did. And it's like freakishly long and ridiculous.
I bet you could fit a bottle of Eagle Rare up that.
Yeah, exactly. So Rex drew a giant dick on my bottle, and then I brought it inside and showed Daniel what Rex had done to my bottle. So he sketched a Ninja Turtle.
That's a pretty good Ninja Turtle.
It really is. It was an impromptu Ninja Turtle, and he handed it over to me like all impressed, like, yeah, check that out. I can draw a Ninja Turtle on command. So I think that might be the most rare bottle of Eleanor in existence.
Very well could be. Just to circle back for 1 second, Ian Waller in the chat mentioned, he said, Vito, let's be honest, there's no way to beat Adam on tasting notes, which is accurate. But actually, I think physically being in the room with Adam actually increases your ability to taste. Like it modifies your taste.
It's weird,
buds.
Right?
Yeah, he rubs off on you, I'm sure. His enthusiasm.
I saw Brad Somchain gained a little star medallion when he entered Adam's house, and then when he left it, the star thing went away.
Yeah, it's crazy, craziest thing.
Yeah, that's it's funny how you get those bottles with certain stories. I mean, that's one of the crazier ones for sure. But certain stories and experiences and people kind of attached to them, right? Yeah, no, that's right, Ryan. It's definitely on Compass Box level of artwork, I think.
The next Compass Box artist. You heard it here first.
So I have a bit of a dilemma, guys.
What's that?
I have so much bourbon in front of me, and I don't know which to drink.
What do you have?
Okay, so and we'll open it up to the chat too. So I'm gonna list. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 9 whiskeys in front of me, all bourbons. I'll list all 9, and then you guys will pick for me. So I have Eagle Rare, Wild Turkey 101, Eleanor 1860, Wild Turkey Rare Breed, Booker's Kathleen Batch, Four Roses Single Barrel, Jefferson's Ocean Voyage 16, Stag Junior, and Stag Senior.
That is a solid selection.
Jason Unworth in the chat is like, we're connected at the brain. He says all of it.
All of them. All of them. So I have Booker's Kathleen's Batch here also, but I was going to like end with that because, of course, I have a hilarious Booker's story.
I'm going to take that and put it aside. That'll be what we end off with.
Yeah.
What do you guys think, Brad and Josh?
Have you had Stag Senior before?
I have not. I've never tasted it.
That's a lie.
I didn't try it that night, Brad.
Yes, you did.
He doesn't remember,
Yes,
which is that's fair with Stag Senior.
Did I actually?
Yes.
No, I didn't.
Yes, we did. We did the previous day. We did on Friday.
That was the Pappy.
We did that too.
And also that.
You weren't that drunk, Vito. Come on.
Why can't I remember?
I don't know.
My mind went blank. The Dreamcast literally put me in a dream state.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's actually legit.
That.
That's fair.
All right. No, so okay, so I guess I did, but I kind of guess I didn't because I don't remember it at all.
You should again.
It's intense. So I vote then. Why not do the Stag Junior and then the Stag Senior?
There you go.
I guess I could do that.
Go crazy.
Okay. Stag Junior and Stag followed by Stag Senior. Not side by side though. I'll do one first and then the other. Just small little pours.
Nice.
Yeah. I am going to have.
I'm gonna get a fresh glass for this.
Garrison Brothers Balmoral, which is kind of a double-barreled, like double oaked bourbon that they make. And two cool things about this. First of all, some portion of the proceeds goes to benefit a Texas state park.
Proceeds.
And then also, this was named in some poll. I forget what it was. It was like the #1 awarded craft distillery whiskey of the year.
Nice.
So anything from a smaller distillery. This one, and then Balcones peated single malt came in second.
Sweet.
It's been a while since I've had the Balmoral. So this guy is 57.5%, so 115 proof. And although it's a super cool bottle, it's a 375, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
So, little tiny guy, unfortunately.
Just a little cute bottle.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a good question for us. Donald Rance asks best bourbon for a bourbon noob. Wow, words. Best bourbon for a bourbon noob that is Irish pot still crazy. Want to explore it and American whiskey in 2019. So so I guess like an entry bourbon for an Irish drinker.
Somebody that likes single pot still Irish in particular. So we're talking your red breasts, your green, yellow spots, etc.
So a lot of butter and like flowers.
Shortbread, maybe a little fruity. Think on that for a minute.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
Yeah,
but
it's hard to draw a comparison because the part of the thing with bourbon, I feel like, so first of all, it's the most heavily regulated whiskey category in the world, I think, right? Like there's so many rules about if you're going to put bourbon on the label or straight bourbon on the label, et cetera. There's all these strict regulations of exactly how it's made and how it's aged. And, bottled and bond is even more strict, we'll go into the minutia of what all that means, right? But that kind of results in this somewhat narrower flavor profile, and it also results in most bourbon takes a large percentage of its flavor from the barrel, right? Which I wouldn't say is generally true of most Irish whiskeys until you get into stuff that's much older,
right?
Whereas
would you say like American whiskeys from like the northeast, and like if there's any, I think there's a couple of distilleries out in Oregon, like where the weather is a little bit more kind of Scotland-like, with not as extreme of a swing like in the southern states.
I tend to like the single malt whiskeys from there better than I like bourbons.
Okay.
I mean, just of what I've had, I like Texas bourbon.
This is actually a good question for me too, because I'm kind of curious about the answer as well, just because you're out of the three of us, you're the most experienced with this as well, right? So. Yeah.
Right. I like Texas bourbon specifically, and I would say Texas bourbon has gotten almost rightfully so has gotten a bad rap in the past, but I think that the quality of the product in the last 3 years or so has really skyrocketed a lot, even 2 years ago. And it's having this real coming of age moment where people are starting to take Texas whiskey more seriously, and the distilleries are learning to adapt to the conditions in which it matures and all these things, but it still is kind of a unique thing. I just haven't had that much that's aged in a much further north climate than Kentucky. That I'm the Wyoming whiskey aside, which honestly would be to the Irish question earlier, would be a decent suggestion if you can get a hold of it. Wyoming whiskey has a nice rounded flavor profile that you might like. It seem like there were some other suggestions in the chat? Buffalo Trace.
I saw Maker's 46, which I'm not a really big fan of. I don't. It's not something that I dig.
It kind of depends on the day for me. I do have a bottle of it, but it's sometimes to me it's got this pleasant cherry thing going on, and then other times it's sort of like cherry flavored nail polish or something. It probably depends on what I had to eat that day, but sure. It's sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
If you're coming from Irish too, maybe like wheated bourbons, so it sort of undercuts the sweetness.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion.
Like going from
Makers
Irish to bourbon would be a serious jump in sweetness a lot of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. But
the other thing you can do is like what I said in one of my Wild Turkey 101 review is I sort of started getting more into bourbon by picking a bourbon, which was Wild Turkey 101, and then making old fashions with it and kind of ease myself into all that sweetness a little bit.
Right.
Sure.
Right. So that could be a way if you don't want to force your way through the door, or just go visit James Burker and he'll give you some Stag Junior.
Problem solved. Trial by fire.
And scold you for not liking bourbon.
It's like the classic question with any of these types, whether you're talking about bourbon or it comes up a lot with Islay Scotch and things like that. It's tough to assume that just because you like this in the past, that means that will translate to something else that you'll like, right? You never know until you try it. I mean, some people feel like they've had to work up to those peaty, smoky scotches, right? And they have to start off soft and then get to the point where they're drinking an Ardbeg or a Laphroaig or something along those lines. And other people, they try that and they fall in love with it immediately. So
yeah,
absolutely, definitely happens.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to crave something with a serious fiddly bit, so I pulled out the Bland's.
That is a serious fiddly bit.
I don't like Blanton's.
No,
really?
Yeah,
just plain don't like it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I think it's over.
No. Okay, I shouldn't say I don't like it, because because in my mind, when I say I don't like it, for me, I hate it. I don't hate it. I hate Woodford Double Oak. I hate that whiskey. I hate it so much.
Tell us how you
Blanton's-
really feel, though, Vito.
Oh, I hate it. I think I texted you guys to it like when I had it with James. Like, this is probably the worst thing I've ever put in my mouth.
Too oaky for you, huh?
Oh my god, it was
That
terrible.
is definitely an oak bomb. You wouldn't like this Balmoret either. Then it's pretty oaky. I mean, Garrison Brothers tends to be pretty oak forward, but I kind of like that flavor profile.
Yeah, but the Blanton's, it's just like, yeah, it's okay. I think it's like something like $80 up in Toronto, something like that.
You know,
it's like something ridiculous. It's not worth it for me.
Yeah, no, it's not worth that.
No,
price.
Elmer T. Lee would be a good suggestion too, which is
That, yeah,
the same.
Elmer T. Lee.
Elmer T. Lee
Filtration.
for the Irish drinker. Sorry, we're going
Yeah,
back for a bit.
yeah. You know, that's a good. I wanted to give a shout out because I was in there today. Anybody that lives in Austin or comes to visit Austin, there's a store on the north end of Austin called Oak Liquor Cabinet, and the guy that owns the store, Raj, is first of all hilarious and awesome, nice guy. But on the Blanton's question, you're saying it was about $80 for you, right?
Yeah, it was $80.
Yeah. So here I bought a bottle from this store for $60, which I thought was pretty reasonable. You know, he's always pretty fair in his pricing. You're going to get more expensive prices from small stores versus, you know, your Specs and Total Wine and the bigger chains and such, right?
Sure.
But he sold me. Yeah, I did pull it out. He sold me this bottle right here, $60.
So that's about the same price, really.
There's another store in town, and I don't know, like, call them out by name or anything like that, but there's another store in town that will sell you Blanton's all day long for twice that price.
That's ridiculous.
$120. And I kind of, you know, asked, and I said, man, I bought this across town from a great store. And I mean, you know, they have a great inventory and they always treat their customers well and stuff like that. And it was literally half this price, what gives. And he said, we charge it because we can. Somebody's going to buy it. If you don't like it, fuck off.
Wow.
Yeah.
America.
Yeah. I mean, you know what?
Yeah.
If they can get that price for it, whatever. But it's just, you know, to me, it's a little, I don't like how that feels. Right.
60 for the juice, 60 for the fiddly.
Right. Exactly.
There you go.
But I mean, this dude, I pulled out a bunch of the cool stuff that he carries to the store, because this dude gets store pick after store pick after store pick, and it's not just like the hot brands that are going to sell out immediately. He gets some of that cool stuff too. But I mean, like, he gets this Russell Reserves, a single barrel store pick that I picked up from him. That's really good. He's kind of legendary in town for having that. I got this one today as a gift.
Nice.
Right there.
Hey, did you hear about a barrel collapse?
Did anybody hear about this?
I don't know what you're
Something
talking
with the 1792, but single barrel there. We got 4 roses over here, 2 different versions of barrel bourbons that he picked. So, and he'll do non-bourbon picks as well. I've seen with some Stranahans and some others, single malts. Does tastings in his store every single week, which is really, really cool. He had Balcones there today. I just, I wasn't able to make it, but yeah. So that's my plug for Oak Liquor Cabinet. I like those guys a lot, and so I wanted to give them a shout out for being fair on their prices, which I think is important, especially in the bourbon world.
Sure,
Right?
sure, yeah.
The bourbon world can get crazy with its secondary market prices and all these things like allocated items and things like that.
Yeah, it's pretty bonkers.
Yeah, let's do something fun.
Yeah.
Because we missed it last week. Brad, pick 3 whiskeys, and we're gonna play Shag,
whiskeys,
Marry, and Kill.
3 bourbons or 3 whiskeys?
Yeah, pick 3 bourbons, and we're gonna play Shag, Marry, Kill with the 3 bourbons.
Well, let's see here. Eagle Rare, Woodford Reserve, and Stag Junior. How about that?
Well, that's easy.
Does it? Go for it.
All right. You're going to Shag Stag Junior because, I mean, that thing, bucks like a bronco, man. But that's, to me, it's not going to be a daily drinker. Eagle Rare, reliable, not too expensive. You can generally find it, at least around me. You can generally find it. Consistently tasty, but not overwhelming. It's just a solid bourbon at a solid price. You're going to marry that one. And I'll just kill Woodford Reserve because it's, just not my favorite.
All right. Vito?
I agree with Josh, but for the sake of the game, I'm going to
change your answers now because for the sake of the game.
For the sake of the game, let it be known that I do agree with Josh, though, 99%. I will shag Eagle Rare because it's cheap.
Okay.
I'll marry Stag Junior. I'll marry Stag Junior because I like abuse, and I'll kill Woodford Reserve.
That tells me a lot about the kind of lady that you're going to marry.
I just want to see the chat just go at it right now.
That tells me a lot. That makes sense. You're gonna need a lady to kind of put you in your place, boss you around a bit.
Sure.
But what?
Oh, Josh is frozen. Oh, he's back. Never mind.
No, we're back.
All right.
How about you, Brad? What would you do?
I would kill Eagle Rare because just kind of not really my thing, I guess. I would shag the Woodford because it's tasty, but it's not something I'd really need to have every day. And I would marry Stag Junior because they're all a little bit different alcohol, which means they're all a little bit different, which keeps the marriage spicy.
Look at Brad go.
Keeping it spicy. Yeah, I guess that's true. You do get Stag. You could never call Stag boring.
Nope.
Yeah.
See, a couple of people are saying marry Stag.
Yeah. That makes sense. So Randall was asking me, how is the Blanton Baby Blue? I assume he means Balcones Baby Blue. I've found a new love for Balcones Baby Blue. First, as a cocktail ingredient, I've had it in several very successful cocktails. One involving lavender and lemon and like soda water, and it was real like refreshing lemony summer drink that they had. And then another one, it was a completely different context. It was like apple and honey and cinnamon and whatnot. It was like a winter cocktail. With the applewood smoked glass. Nice. Made with Baby Blue. It's really delicious. Drinking it neat. It's not bad. It's very sweet. It's the mildest, sweetest, most friendly thing that Balcones makes, I think, aside from maybe Rumble. But as far as whiskey goes, and it's aged in used casks, I believe, so it doesn't take on nearly as much of a barrel character. So yeah, I don't dislike it, but the way I feel like it's best used is in a cocktail context.
Well, I finished the Stag Junior. I'm gonna pour myself a tiny little bit of the Stag Senior.
Yeah, I've never compared those side by side, actually.
The Stag Junior was incredibly welcoming tonight.
Yeah, I find the secret to stuff like that often can be to like let it sit for a little while, right? Open it, drink a little bit, let it sit for a little while, and it kind of tames the fire on it a little.
Yeah.
So we were like kind of talking earlier about whiskey community and all of these people we've met, including each other. I mean, the reason that we're even here right now doing this thing is meeting each other through as a result of watching the Whiskey Vault, being in Whiskey Tribe, right?
Yep.
Would you say that you've had a substantial change in your life as a result of getting into this hobby and this culture, and has that been, overall a beneficial, good thing for you? Like, what has changed for you? For me, it's been a lot of things, but I'm curious, like, what your take on that would be. Like, we've all been seriously into this for between 1 to 2 years now, so not really that long.
I would say the biggest change for me is I've been more social in the last year and seen more actual human beings face to face than probably the previous 10 years or more.
There you go.
I was a hermit before I joined the tribe. And now I'm going to Toronto all the time, flying out to Austin, a couple times a year or whatever.
Yeah, you found your people, man.
Finally found my people, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just took a while. Also, my bank account is lowering a lot faster last year than it has in previous years.
But it's all worth it.
Of course. Yes, Christina, my hermit card has been revoked.
Yeah,
that's true.
So Brad's left the house a few times and has collected many bottles of whiskey and shared, of course, most importantly, shared many bottles of whiskey.
Of course.
What about you, Vito?
Yeah, like similar to Brad, but not as hermity of a start, right?
Sure.
But definitely it's made me way more social. I wouldn't be caught dead doing what we're doing right now last year at this time.
Right.
And I don't know, it's one thing, and we kind of alluded to this a while back ago, but it's taught me how to control my alcohol intake.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Like, I have so much more alcohol in the house now than I ever did before, and yet I drink an awful lot less.
Yeah,
actually,
you sit down and the time is spent somewhat drinking it, but also just if you're with people talking about it and just kind of just a general conversation and where it goes and what have you. But even when you're alone and you want to sit down and just kind of relax, it's like even just like a pour like that could last someone 20-30 minutes.
Right.
It would last Adam about an hour, but it just kind of slows you down and you appreciate it more. And a factor could be the price of the average bottle, maybe, but I think we've kind of I say maybe like the general community has sort of been shown the benefits of letting it sit and exploring a whiskey, because it's so interesting and varied that they're always in for a surprise, especially with a new whiskey, right? So you're just kind of we're sort of subconsciously sort of told, hey, maybe take your time with this one, let it build and explore. And for at least for me, that along with the social aspect, meeting you and Brad and everyone else in the community and everyone in the chat, which is awesome to hang out with you guys once a week. It's been amazing. And what an experience it's been the last 10 months, 10 months for me, since February-ish.
Right. And
right, so.
But my life and our Gretchen also being involved in all of the whiskey shenanigans and whatnot. It's like an understatement to say that our life is completely different than it was before.
Yeah, sure.
We're doing so many things. We've met so many people. We've made so many friends, had so many opportunities, and just all kinds of things are different now. And I think the culture that's been built around, Whiskey Tribe, Whiskey Vault, the Rex and Daniel thing, and everybody else that kind of has their own spin on that, but with the same kind of core values. Guys like Roy Aquavite, demystifying it, making it accessible and like relatable to people, retaining this kind of fine, classy, appreciation of fine things and spirits is still there, but it's taking the snobbery out of it and making it something that you can sit and enjoy, as opposed to, for me, it used to be get out of work, go to the bar, maybe start drinking beers, throw some darts, play some pool, what have you. And, before you know it, you've just been mindlessly drinking beers all night, and there you are. And I do so much less of that now. And I get so much more social benefit and like creative things that come out of it. And, I don't know. It's a whole different vibe to the community. There's collaboration, there's support, people educate and share with one another. Welcoming. Right? Everybody's welcoming, supportive, for the most part, right? Yeah. But and I am finding I'm sure just like you guys, I find I've gotten so into it in so many different ways. Like I'm probably aware of 8 different whiskey tasting events and things I could go to this week. Right.
Right.
It's ridiculous. And not everybody has that. I live in a city that's busy like that, but everybody has their own version, I think, of really getting deeply absorbed into it. And for me recently, I've had to step back and realize I can't make it like all consuming or take it too seriously. I can't do all the whiskey things. I do need to step away and do some other stuff. Otherwise I just, you're kind of become one dimensional about it.
Sure. Yeah.
But it really is kind of an amazing community, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's super
ridiculous.
It got me out of being a hermit, literally. It is that welcoming.
Exactly. I did see a good question from Ryan earlier. Ryan was, what bourbons are on your bucket list for the end of the year, beginning next year? What are you looking to pick up, if anything?
I don't know.
Bourbons?
Mm-hmm. If not bourbon, what's on your mind?
Well, I really want to get my bottle of Eleanor 1856 out of Austin and into Toronto. So that's on my list.
There you go.
It's just sitting at the distillery right now.
I'm trying to think. I don't know about bourbons, but a couple of the Game of Thrones special release things are looking pretty good. I'm going to be hunting for at least a couple of those.
Yeah.
I got to try several of those. The Klein Leash was my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
The Klein Leash?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard that was pretty good.
Yeah, it's quite good. I would say I'm waiting on the new Brimstone PX Sherry finished, which comes out next week, and then the Brimstone Redux. So 2 different versions of Brimstone that are coming out next week on a Thursday for some reason. On a Thursday when I'm working.
How dare they? Don't they know your schedule?
It's always been Saturday.
So silly.
Honestly, I don't know. Like I was given a bunch of bourbon samples by one of the guys up here, Daniel Hayes, and I'm like the rare breed, the Four Roses single barrel, the Jefferson's Ocean. So I'm kind of interested in exploring them a little bit and seeing if I'm going to buy a bottle, because bourbon is the one thing lacking on my shelf, and it's good, and there's enough variation that it's always interesting, depending if I pick up like the rare, the wild turkey, Angel's Envy, or what have you. But if as of right now, there's nothing that kind of is pressing or on my wish list to buy at the moment. What is going to be the Malt of Magnificence from the Crowded Barrel whiskey distillery.
Yeah,
I'm really interested in trying that. And if anyone doesn't know what's that about, we're not going to take the time to explain it at the moment. But you can go and take a look at the Whiskey Tribe channel. And they think, was it last week's?
I think
so. It wasn't last week's. It was 2 or 3 weekends ago. They had an episode, right?
Yeah, I did a little favor for somebody at Crowded Barrel and got them a bottle of Midwinter Night's Dram. So I'm hoping I get to try the new make of that.
Ooh,
If it's done, I'm hoping I get a little taste of that.
I hate that you live so close to there.
I'm hoping to. It's not expected, but
It's not fair.
please, seriously, I'd like to try that.
Yeah, but I definitely want to get my hands on that in the new year. So that might be my first bottle purchase of the year next year.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, real quick, Brad. Because Steve A asked quite a while ago, and I kept on forgetting to ask you, what's the ABV on this Stag Senior? Do you remember? Because I don't have it on here.
That's a real good question, Josh.
Maybe
over to you, because the bottle is at your house.
64.6. I forgot that I had because I emptied it into.
Oh yeah, it was written on the little.
Yeah, okay, I changed it just because I like the glass ones a little bit better. 64.6% on this Stag Senior, and it's absolutely delicious.
That's a bit stronger than mine. Mine's 63.2.
Stag Senior.
Josh.
Oh, Senior. Okay. Oh, so that's the same bottle then.
Yeah.
Here that belongs to.
And
Brad.
Wade says it's the 2017 version, off the right away.
I did see a question I wanted to address from Dan Dewberry. Bottle of rye whiskey in the bar. What should you get for under $35 in Austin? Well, Dan, I'm happy. I have somewhat of an assortment of rye whiskeys, not that many. I'm happy to let you try any of them. But my pick for that, even though it's a pretty atypical rye, it's not got your standard rye flavor profile, but I really like it for that, is absolutely the Balcones rye. I mean, I know you're shocked and amazed that that's my recommendation, but outside of Balcones rye, I would say probably something from High West. I'm not really.
Is a double rye inexpensive? I've heard good things about that.
Yeah, I don't know the price off the top of my head. Yeah, High West. I think what else there may be in the world.
Donald Rance in the chat just said Lot 40, the Lot 40 cast strength. Good stuff.
Double rye is like $40. Lies of Past. Who are you? I've seen your name come up a couple of times, but I don't know who you are. Or maybe
I did see a bottle of Willet 10-year-old rye today, and they wanted only $200 for it.
Only.
Okay.
Yeah. I said, I'm sure that's amazing, but no thanks.
John says that he has the Balcones rye and not feeling it for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
I think I had the Balcones rye at your place when I was there. I think,
did you?
right?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, maybe.
No, I had the 100 rye. The 100, right? Mm-hmm. There's 2 ryes that they make.
Well, yeah, there was a limited cast strength one, but the rye 100 is the one you can get in stores.
Okay, yeah, I think that's the one that you gave me.
Yeah, it's not a standard like rye flavor profile at all to me. I mean, it tastes. There's a lot of chocolate and orange notes in there that I always get. Yeah, that's a great suggestion, actually, Ryan. Pikesville or Rittenhouse for an inexpensive rye. Those are both solid, especially for making cocktails. If you can find it around, I think some of the Willet ones, the younger ones, aren't too terribly expensive and tend to be pretty good. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a giant rye fan. There's just a handful that I do like that. But so I've finished my Garrison Brothers Balmorhea, but what I have left here is the Booker's Kathleen's batch.
You really it's that kind of a night you want to get into the Bookers, Josh? You know what happens when you get into the Bookers.
I paid for this one, so
it's not free.
Oh, it's okay. So that's okay then. As long as it's not free, it's fine.
Well,
Josh,
yes, yeah.
Go pour yourself that before you drink. I'm gonna finish this senior, and then I'm gonna pour myself some of Kathleen's batch. But in the meantime, tell the story.
Okay.
Of that bottle. Well, not just the bottle, the whiskey itself, because it's one of my favorite stories ever.
Okay, well, buckle up and settle in because this is quite a tale.
Oh boy!
So Oh, which by the way, yes, Ryan Boss Hog, sure. That doesn't quite meet the price point requirement.
A sample of Boss Hog,
but
would
it
meet the
is
price requirement.
amazing and delicious. So, okay, so Booker's. Booker's is definitely one of my favorite bourbons overall. I love everyone I've had. I've really liked. It's just a flavor profile I think that suits me. So, I went on a trip for work to a amplifier manufacturer in New England, in New York. And when I went on this trip, it so happened to be my birthday on the second day we were there. So I went with the salesman for the company I work for, and we went to training the first day and got back to the hotel afterwards. And he said, "Hey, it's your birthday. Let me buy you a drink at the hotel bar before we go to dinner." And like, I hadn't eaten hardly anything for like hours, just totally empty stomach, right? And so I see a bottle of Lagavulin 16 behind the bar. That was the best looking thing back there. So I said, "Let's do a Lagavulin 16, right?" Bartender, I don't think Lagavulin gets ordered that often in this bar. So they proceeded to pour me a solid, I don't know, 3-4 ounces, probably a heavy pour of Lagavulin. Drank a good majority of that on an empty stomach. And then we walked over to the place for dinner. Show up at the place for dinner, and what's there on the bar but a brand new bottle of Booker's, which for anybody that doesn't know, Booker's comes out in batches, and they give it cute little names like Kathleen's batch is what this one is. But they're all, kind of cast strength. This is 63.7%, right? So about as strong as bourbon gets, pretty much. So this Booker's, of course, was free. It was on the house. So I got a hefty pour of Booker's, and again, still on an empty stomach. And well, long story short, the night went downhill from there. I did finally get some food in me, but we kept walking around, kept drinking. There was bowling at one point, and I wandered into various bars around town. And these guys, Vito, and I think Brad might have been there, Christina, a few other folks, were all video chatting this evening. Yep. And I dialed into the video chat at the end of the night to say hi to these guys. And I couldn't find my way back to my hotel.
We were cheering you on.
So I was wandering around the streets in this city I've never been to in New York on my birthday, set off by the free Booker's that I was so excited about. I did finally, with their help and like barely being able to read the map in my hand, finally make it back to my hotel in time to get some sleep and whatnot, and go to day 2 of training, which was a little rough. But moral of the story is, Booker's, even if it's free, just watch out. Just be careful. You got to respect, even though it's easy to drink and delicious.
It is.
That will get right on top of you and lead to some very, very scary situations. By the time I made it back to my hotel, I was so excited. I was telling everybody how much I love them for helping me get back to my final destination.
There was a lot of love in that
love come with free Booker's.
Yes, you'll be telling your friends you love them in no time.
No, Christina, that was the night that you're thinking.
Oh, yeah,
of.
Gretchen was drunk too, but she was cool.
She was home though, so it's okay.
What a fun night that was. Oh my goodness.
It was a good time.
Yeah, see, but made it out alive. It's a good story.
Everything worked out.
And yeah. I've learned to respect cast strength whiskey at that point. That was a learning experience, really. That's what it's about. Personal growth.
Well,
this Booker's right after that George that Stag Senior.
Yeah.
So bright.
Interesting.
Yeah, it does have kind of bright, like cinnamony notes and stuff like that.
That's exactly what it is. It's honeyed cinnamon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't have my Booker's handy, unfortunately. So I'll have to leave it up to you guys. Is Angel's Envy close enough to bourbon to count, or do I need something else?
I mean, it's still bourbon. It's just bourbon with.
It's bourbon plus.
Bourbon
but
plus.
Like
that's
close
enough. They should make that a thing. Bourbon plus.
Yeah, I think that's actually that's a legal designation, I believe. Like the bourbon finished in.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it's not bourbon. It's Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey finished in port wine barrels, which is a mouthful, but that is the legal distinction. Close enough. Close enough.
Yeah, no, that's right. The Bitter and Jaded there, talking about, well, with a name like Bitter and Jaded, I bet you haven't gotten to the I Love You Man stage in forever. I mean, just kidding. Yeah, no, that's when you know it's gone a little far, when you start saying shit like that.
Yeah, but do you regret it?
No, absolutely. No. I mean, like,
that's all good.
24 hours later, I regretted it.
Yeah,
but now,
I mean, I mean, like at that point, you hadn't really met any of us in person.
That's true.
Yet you were professing how much you loved us.
Well, the kindest thing was done for me that same morning too, because it was my birthday again. I'm out of town, away from home. Got to know these guys through Whiskey Tribe, and we've been hanging out and chatting, video chatting, and stuff like that. So we got to know each other some. But Gretchen had the amazing idea to get all these guys together, and with Brad's help, put together a happy birthday video from a whole bunch of people that are all in Whiskey Tribe, right? And so a bunch of people just clip after clip after clip of cool people saying, cheers, happy birthday, hope you have a great time, et cetera, et cetera. And that's how I started my morning. So I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm going to have a great birthday. And then it's like, by about 1 a.m., it went pretty off the rails.
Yeah.
So what you're thinking, that Booker's cinnamon bright
pickle? No, not pickle, Brian. No, dust. I don't know where pickle came from.
Dusty corn?
Dusty corn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a classic note that shows up in an awful lot of
dry hay, like on the dry hay and animal feed on the bottom, on the floor of a barn.
Oh, so okay, a little barnyardy.
Fair.
I can see that.
I always get a little bit of molasses in Booker's too, which is
nice. Absolutely. Like with bourbon especially, some of those tasting notes, it starts to feel like it's almost not worth mentioning. You know what I mean? Like vanilla. Well, vanilla's in there, of course. Like pretty much every bourbon has that, right? To a degree. I always seem to like skip over those tasting notes that seem a little irrelevant, but I suppose you really shouldn't. If you notice it, you should say so. So have you had any other batches besides the Kathleen's batch?
No,
I haven't either.
Yeah, it's they try and keep the flavor profile pretty similar from batch to batch, but it's definitely a bit of variation.
What was the one that was released this year that was really different?
So there's been Kathleen's batch, Backyard Barbecue, and the current one's Kentucky Chew. And I think there's one that just came out, although I haven't seen it around here.
I think it's Bourbon that just did that on one of their videos.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in stores here, but it just hasn't made it down this way yet. I can't recall the name off the top of my head. Somebody in the chat probably knows what the brand new Booker's is called, but I don't recall. Looking forward to trying that. I haven't tried the Kentucky Chew yet, actually. I did have a bottle of Backyard Barbecue, which I made the mistake of bringing to happy hour at Wizard Academy back in the day. And it disappeared mostly in a single evening. Of course, we're talking between like a dozen people, right?
Yeah.
But
not just you.
No, not just me. That's the thing I think about Booker's. For me, anyway, it's super high proof and then dangerously drinkable.
It just needs to be free for you to drink a lot of it.
Yeah. Or for me to get like extra excited, like, oh, this is one of my favorite bourbons, and I didn't buy it. How much does Booker's usually go for? 80 on the high end. Usually, you can probably find it for about 60 at a good store. With good pricing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
I definitely
I
saw it
paid
for
80
60 today.
Canadian for mine,
So.
somewhere around there. So yeah, 60 American would make sense.
Yeah.
Get that ballpark.
Some places will charge up to about 80, but you shouldn't pay more than 60, I think, really.
Responding to Christina, we'll love you no matter what.
Where's the comment?
Emotions and all.
Emotions and all.
How dare you exhibit emotions?
We love our mods.
We do. You really should love one more than the other, Josh. But whatever, that's fine. It's just your marriage at stake.
I did comment on Daniel's live stream yesterday when they were going to put up the Advent calendar video and had some technical difficulties.
Yeah,
it felt good to know that there's other people that have technical difficulties.
No.
You're not supposed to talk about it, Josh.
He's encroaching on some territory here. There's only room for 3 professional YouTubers.
Oh, that's our shtick.
Yeah,
I see.
I know what you're talking about.
I did comment that when he said, "I don't have any Ardbeg in the house. Don't tell Christina." I did say that I would turn him in. So there you go.
It's a shame.
Christina, get him.
Well, I mean, he has access to like 20 types of Ardbeg, like 10 minutes from his house or whatever. So like,
I know. Yeah. I mean, we all love those guys and everything that they do. But like sometimes those comments about we don't keep that much whiskey at home and our collections in the house aren't that big. It's like, yeah, because every day at work you're surrounded by 2,000 whiskey bottles. Of course you don't, man.
And a distillery.
Yeah.
I just want to reply to Donald Rance, who asked favorite Canadian whiskey currently. His current favorite is the Gooderham and Ward's 11 Souls. I actually have a sample of the 11 Souls.
That is a cool fucking name, I gotta say.
Given to me by Mike in Toronto. Thank you, Mike, for that. I haven't had it yet, but people have been saying good things about it. But right now my favorite is Canadian Mist. No, I'm joking. It's
end of stream. You're all fired. Goodbye.
J.P. Weiser's Dissertation is probably my favorite Canadian whiskey at the moment.
I'd say I really haven't had that many of the high quality ones.
I got to try and bring a bottle down for you next time.
I did get to try the J.P. Weiser's Seasoned Oak. That was pretty good.
I have a sample of that as well.
Is very good. It's probably a fight for me between the Seasoned Oak and Lot 40 Cask Strength.
Oh, you finally got to try it.
Ooh, nice.
It's a fight. I actually have a peated Canadian whiskey now that I haven't tried yet. From two
I
brewers
saw that
in the
that
Yukon.
picture that you posted earlier.
Super.
So is it like is it a malt whiskey?
Yeah.
Or
yeah, it's like it's a peated single malt from the Yukon.
Cool. Yeah. Give it a try.
I don't know why, but like I saw it and I was like, yes, I need to try that. Clearly, give it to me right now.
Ryan, no, I really don't know where you could find good Canadian whiskeys in Austin. I need to keep my eyes peeled for that more, I guess. I'm surely there's a store or two that carries at least a couple, but I mean, the conventional wisdom or the rumor I've heard is that you Canadians keep all the good stuff for yourselves.
Shh, don't tell people that.
I think the secret's out.
I've been sending some of it to the vault,
tens of people watching.
There are some in the vault now in Austin.
Yeah, there are some in the vault. So just sweet talk your way in there.
There you go.
Oh, no mention of Colonel E.H. Taylor tonight. I actually don't have any bourbon. I only have the rye, some rye samples. So I can't really comment on the E.H. Taylor.
E.H. Taylor, I have the regular like bottled in bonds. I've had some single barrel variations of that. I've had the 4 grain, maybe 1 or 2 others. I would say, you know what? I agree, Wade. It's pretty good. It's not my favorite. I tend to go towards a darker, richer, more spicy, and probably more oaky flavor profile than that. You know,
Sure.
the whiskey that I first really got enchanted with was Garrison Brothers bourbon. So that kind of tells you something about my flavor preferences in the bourbon world. I like it a little more intense and aggressive, and E.H. Taylor to me comes across as good, but just more on the lighter, friendlier side of things, I guess. Even though it's, you know, still 100 proof for the bottle that I have in the cabinet here. It's good, just not a go-to for me. It's not something I continue to reach for on a regular basis.
Right. Now, Ryan, I haven't tried the JP Weiser's 15, but I hear good things about it. And the other like special releases and age statement stuff from them are all pretty solid. So I imagine it's probably decent, but I haven't tried it. The 35 is really good, but that's a whole other category.
Yeah, I'd say for the E.H. Taylor standard flavor profile, excellent execution. Yeah, it's good, just nothing outstanding about it for me. So we have any fiddly bits this evening from you gentlemen? Or did you totally? Vito's looking around the room for a fiddly bit. He's totally unprepared.
I'm always prepared and professional.
Of course. This is all an act.
You know, I'm gonna cheat and say that my fiddly bit is any challenge coin you can get, because they fit on the top of a Glencairn amazingly well to keep bugs out and the alcohol fumes in. Together great.
This is true.
And I was looking at my challenge coin. I didn't think hard enough, Brad. I hate you.
I beat you to the punch by cheating.
Mine would be a book that I have upstairs and I forgot to grab and bring down here to show it, but easily found on Amazon and whatnot. I just finished the Tasting Whiskey Lou Bryson book, which was very good and packed with information, but it is a little kind of high school textbook ish, sure, if you will. So once I finished that, I started reading Whiskey Distilled by Heather Green, and I find her writing style to be pretty engaging. It's not something I've really just, sometimes you start reading a book and it becomes a little difficult you find yourself restarting paragraphs and the writing style is a little stiff or something. You're just really not getting into it.
Sure. All the time.
She has a way about her writing style for me that's really entertaining, informative, seems smart, funny. I'm really enjoying it. So it's really great.
I just happen to have it sitting beside the desk.
Gretchen just so happened to bring it.
Nice.
So there you go.
It's a different cover.
I got the hardback.
Oh, you got the hardback version. Nice.
Josh likes it hardback. What?
Yeah, you know it. Likes it hard in the back.
Yeah, no, she seems cool. I had a very short chance to chat with her during the level 1 psalm class. Months ago,
oh yeah, you were lucky enough to have her as a guest instructor.
It was a lot of chaos, so it's not like we hung out, but I got to chat with her for like 2 minutes. She seems cool.
So yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I've only gotten a little bit into the book, but it was one of those, if I wasn't exhausted, I wouldn't have put it down. I just sat there reading it. And so it's quite good. Whereas this is also very good, the Tasting Whiskey book. There's a ton of information packed in here, but it is a little more sort of textbook style, if you will, but very, very all encompassing. So Whiskey Distilled, Heather Green, check it out. Easy read, a lot of fun.
The audiobook is actually really well done too, if you prefer like audio.
Yeah, and I guess
stuff.
that's gonna answer John G's question, asking any good whiskey related audiobooks. Yeah, go read that on. Go listen to that on any of your audiobook app.
Or really, I feel like also, if you're going to listen to whiskey related content, kind of the cornerstone, the unshakable core around which all of that is built is this show right here, Cast Strength. You want to put it in your ear holes and just listen to it all the time. You will learn all kinds of things. Just stick with us and you'll be good.
See, I thought you were going to talk about Aquavite in his live stream that's going to be tomorrow. But
yeah,
he's not nearly as professional as us.
No,
far more professional.
far more professional.
I was going to say something. Yes. I guess we'll save it for next week's podcast. What I was going to talk about. It's going to be a big thing, so don't worry. Sorry, guys. Big tease show up next Wednesday.
What a tease!
My fiddly bit. I, for the first time ever, am completely done all my holiday shopping. With like 2.5 weeks to spare. So I finished it last night.
Nice.
I went out with my buddy's wife. We do our Christmas shopping every year together. This year we decided we're going to do it early. We did it. It's done. I don't have to do anything else. So if you're procrastinating, don't do it. Just go do it. We did it in 3.5 hours. We ran through the mall. We got everything and we were out. And it's so freeing. It feels amazing to have it all taken care of. So if you have all the shopping, go do it now.
Did you say you went to the mall?
Yeah, I went to the mall.
Those are still a thing?
What the hell? What? There are malls still? Oh my God.
Well, a little bit of exercise, I guess.
Do you get what are malls like? Do you guys have like places where they sell pretzels and orange Julius and shit like that in there?
Beaver tails. A lot of beaver
tails.
I was not prepared for that answer. Okay, what are beaver tails?
You don't know what a beaver tail is?
No.
They're delicious.
It's like an elephant ear.
It's literally a
like an
big ass
flat
piece of dough that's fried.
Okay.
And then you can put like icing sugar or Nutella or bananas, strawberries.
It sounds like an elephant ear with extra steps.
Basically.
Sure.
Basically is, yeah.
Yeah, Christina took the words out of my mouth. It must be a Canadian thing. I don't know.
Just Canadian things. We're gonna make a meme of that. Me and Brad with a bottle of whiskey and just at the bottom in furly writing just Canadian things.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it sounds like a funnel cake, but a funnel cake is much more lacy, right?
Yeah, this is just a solid hunk of dough.
It's essentially an elephant ear with different sort of toppings and things.
At one of our ski resorts up here, if you make it to the top of the highest point, they actually have a small little shack, make like deep frying them like on the spot. So if you get up there, when you get up there and it's freezing cold, you just go grab piping hot beaver tail and eat it at the top of the mountain, and you have a great view of the north.
So if they've got beaver tails at these places in malls and like on mountains and shit in Canada, they should make little bite-sized ones that you just call them moose knuckles.
Oh my God.
The commercials basically write themselves. We're going
to end off tonight's stream. Thank you to everyone for joining us. It's been a blast. You guys are awesome. Thank you to Josh and Brad and myself. And I'm going to thank myself because I'm a greedy bastard.
Sure.
Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know. Let us know what's going on in your lives, and if there's anything you want us to talk about next week. In the meantime, Sláinte from your Cast Strength crew.
Sláinte.
Sláinte.